morning, everyone, at 7 a.m. Mountain Time, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 6 a.m. Pacific. Namaste. And for those of you up in Canada watching this, happy Thanksgiving and happy Columbus Day to everyone else. And today I have an amazing guest, Rashmi, and she is going to talk about women's empowerment. And I'm going to interview her, and we're just going to talk women's empowerment. But for those of you who are new to Winning with Win, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe button on IMTV because IMTV is so new that we need all the love and support we can get. So for those of you that are watching this live, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and the bell for all notifications. And we're just going to have a fun one talking to Rashmi about women's empowerment. So, welcome, Rashmi.
Hi, Vin. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yes, I can. And Rashmi, could you please explain to my audience more about what you do?
Sure. So, I am a public speaker and a public speaking coach, and I work with people from culturally and linguistically diverse backgrounds. So, if English is not your first language, I would love to work with you. And all my training is based on my living experience here in Australia. So, originally, I come from India, and I have been living in Australia for 8 years now. And 8 years ago, when I came, I couldn't understand the accent. I couldn't understand the jokes, the slang. So I've come a long way, and I feel that people from immigrant backgrounds have such unique stories to share, but English not being their first language, that basically becomes a deterrent for them to share their story. So I help people become confident speakers, and I also help them monetize their public speaking skills.
Well, that's beautiful because English in women's empowerment, if you don't speak the language, how are you going to empower yourself enough so that you can get a job, per se, or have a motivational speaking career? I have worked with so many people throughout my life with different backgrounds, and it's amazing that if they don't speak the language, how in the world are they supposed to be empowered in their own selves? So my question for you, Lishmi, is how does women's empowerment impact your everyday life?
Sure. So I feel, or rather, that is what my dad has taught me, that when you educate a girl, then you are educating three families. You're educating the family that she's born in. You're educating the family that she's going to go to if she chooses to get married, and if she chooses to have children, then she's going to empower and educate those next generation. So if you educate a girl child, you are empowering three families. So it's a very, very powerful lesson that my dad taught me when I was young. And I totally live by that. I have two girls, and I always call them future leaders. Every night when I put them to bed, I tell them that you are confident young girls. You can achieve anything that you put your mind to. So women empowerment is so important. Like, it is a male dominated society, and I have nothing against men. I love my husband, my brother, my other friends who are males. But if But there is one thing that I would like to share with the women watching the show, that if men are the head of the family, women are the neck, and the neck decides where the head is going to go.
The next, I love it. The next decides where the head is going to go. And even though we love men, we love men on every planet. The women, the women are basically running the household, and
Absolutely.
the women are basically, and men, or and I'm not excluding men by any means. I love my guys, but the women are making all the financial decisions, especially if they're single moms out there, or they're making the educational decisions right now, which are kind of tough due to we're sitting in a world pandemic. So I think with the men's support, we have it, but at the same time, it is difficult because we're living in a male dominated society. And so, what would you say to those guys watching? And what would you say to those guys that want to not support women? Let's just be the elephant in the room here and not support women and just be Canis macho.
Sure. This is this is something that is really close to my heart. And what I would like to say to those men is is just one thing, and that is that your existence is thanks to your mother. So if women did not exist, you wouldn't have existed. So every single day, be thankful for the women in your life and empower them so that they can be proud that they gave birth to you.
Exactly. I love it. I love it. Now, for the purposes of anonymity, could you please share a success story of a woman that you empowered?
Sure. So this is from a mentoring program that I'm part of. So here in Western Australia, there is a university called Curtin University, and they run a project called as Empower. And the whole idea of the project is to empower women from refugee backgrounds. So when they come to Australia, the language becomes a barrier, and they are not able to communicate, and they're not able to integrate well into the society. So the program in that program, I'm a mentor, and I had this mentee who is from Egypt, and I don't know for what reason she always felt she had 4 kids, and she always felt that she is not eligible to send them to daycare. She wanted to study, she wanted to work, but God only knows who told her that she's not eligible for childcare subsidy, and she cannot send her kids to daycare. So I helped her get over that thing, that that it's nothing like that. Everyone here who is a permanent resident or a citizen is eligible for childcare subsidy, and no one is stopping you to send your children to daycare. And I helped her sort that thing, and I also helped her get through the process. When I first met her, she wanted to do so many things, and I'm like, you can do everything, but let's get started with one. So I'm so proud of her now that she is studying. She now sends her kids to daycare. She's studying to become a teacher in the school that her kids are studying, so that she can be there with the kids, and she can also work. So
I love it.
that's just one example, but I'm really proud of her.
I love it because, um, and I'll face the elephant in the room again. Then I'll ask this question from the audience. Men have a tendency to overpower women and squish women like a bug. And so Terry asked, is there one thing we can do to teach girls about confidence and to be guides in their own life.
Sure. So for that, I would say that, just like we say that charity begins at home. So I would like to say that, if you have kids who are girls, if you have daughters in your family, in your neighborhood, in your own household, then tell them to love themselves. Consider themselves sacred and important, and teach them when they're very young that happy people do not seek validation from anything and anyone outside of themselves. So whatever they are, like, if their color is brown, black, they're fat, thin, it doesn't matter. You should love yourself always. And when you love yourself, everyone around you is bound to love you, because you're not seeking any validation from anyone outside of you. So that's what I would say, that to become confident, we need to teach girls to love themselves the way they are.
I love it. To become confident, we need to teach these young women to love themselves. And this being Domestic Violence Month, um, and that's all another subject in itself. And I'll bring my panelist Kim in here in a couple minutes. But based on what you just said, if the women, Rashmi, if the women love themselves, they're more likely, once a guy does something icky
Yes,
to them, they're more likely to say, "Get out of my way. I am
exactly.
a confident woman, and I don't stand for this," because it's more likely for the women who are weaker and the it's more likely for the women that are weaker and less confident to, when they get in a sticky situation and they have a guy or another woman trying to abuse them or sexually assault them, it's more likely for the victim, so to speak, to have less confidence in that position if they're not told by a man or told by another woman or told by their mother, "You're strong, you're capable, and beautiful."
Absolutely. I totally agree that self esteem plays an important role, whether it is domestic violence, whether it is, sexual abuse, or it is drug use. Self esteem is something that is really, really powerful.
And what would you say? How should we teach our young men and women not to get bullied, especially cyberbullying, which happens nowadays more times than not because of the pandemic?
Yep. So I would say, for for younger, like, for boys in our households or in our families, in our neighborhood, we need to teach them to be kind. We need to teach them about even the menstrual cycle that women, like, young girls go through, because, when they know about things and they know that it's a painful process that a girl goes through every single month, they are more likely to be compassionate towards her. So if we teach our boys and the young men to be compassionate, then that kindness is something that will help them whenever, there is a situation, whether it is in the cyber world or it is in real life situation. That's what I teach my girls all the time, that, in this world, you can be anything, and if you have to choose to be kind. So it's equally applicable to, boys and girls. If they can be kind towards each other, and as parents, as citizens, as fellow neighborhood people, if we can teach these young boys and girls to be kind, then I feel that, it will have a long lasting effect, whether it is bullying in cyber situations or in real life scenarios, because then they'll not be pulling the person down. They would be kind if they see someone in a sticky situation.
So I definitely agree with you. Now, what has been the success story, but the most difficult challenge that you've faced in your career with me?
In my career, I would say the biggest challenge was to get my career started. So I come from an engineering and a project management background. I was very happy working full time till my younger daughter came along and she has some health issues. So I could not send her to daycare just like I sent my elder one. And my heart would bleed, like, seeing her coming home all scratched and bleeding. And, every now and then, if I'm at work, I used to get a call that she has had something and now she has this allergic reaction, so you need to come and get her. So last year I decided that, okay, I'm not going to go back to work. And I told my husband that there must be a way out. And I have a lot of compassion and a lot of respect for women who stay at home and who take care of their kids and their families and decide not to work. But I'm a little bit different, so I wanted to carve that image for other women. I wanted to carve that path that you can take care of your children and earn an income as well. So I started the public speaking coaching. I've been a public speaker, almost all my life, like 18 years in different capacities. But I wanted to do something where I'm earning an income from for my household, but I am flexible as well. Like, all the jobs that I've done till now, even they were part time, even when they were part time roles, uh, they did not give me this kind of flexibility that my kids can stay with me and I can work. So that has been my biggest challenge, my situation and the decision that I had to take. But I'm so happy that I did that. I'm so thankful to my husband for the support. So now I work from home. My trainings are online. The coaching calls that I deliver are again based from my home office. My girls know that mom is working now, so they'll not disturb me. So that has been my biggest challenge, like finding a way to do something in and around my career, like
Yes,
in and around my children and my
and
responsibilities
around
as a mother.
and around family. And I think
Yes.
that we should empower women, particularly who have lost their jobs due to the pandemic, to figure out what they're really passionate about. And I'll bring Kim in here to speak about domestic violence. And Kim, I'll kick it off with this question. Do you think having the person who's being abused being empowered is a good thing? Because I know you and I have shared a little bit behind the scenes, and I know you're more domestic violence witness than I am. But do you think having the victim, so to speak, is a good thing or a bad thing?
You're on mute, Kim.
I'm on mute because I was working backstage. But
Yes, sure.
again, I think Rashmi could answer this one as well because she works with so many women, and we all know. And I've noticed somebody commented on this as well. There are 12 million victims a year just in the U.S. alone, female victims. You would almost double that number for children, and about 6 million male victims. So speaking on that level of this and having witnessed it, there's a lot of mental elements that go into play of domestic violence. It's about being empowered, taking in control, and the women get built into a habit of this. I mean, if that's the best way to explain it, right? The most layman terms. You're conditioned into accepting that this is your life. And it becomes a quiet, it's the most silent crime in the world. It is quiet because you're afraid to speak out. You've lost your confidence. You've lost your pride. You've lost your purpose. And well, you've lost your purpose. Your purpose now becomes serving them. I think it becomes very dangerous at that point to find your voice. At that point, you have to be very tactical and strategic in getting out alive and safe. Because what happens is that we have discovered, like, if you have an offender arrested, right, within the first 48 hours that they're released with a protective order, more than 85% of the time, they're going to go and break that order. And that order is going to be broken within the first 48 hours. And it's going to be worse than the original crime they were arrested for. So at this stage and point, when you're very right, it would be better if we could teach all of our girls. This is what I'd like to do. Put them in camp, okay? Teach them confidence and strength, because I'm listening to you. Tell your daughters they're good every night. Let them hear stories, right, that emphasize that empowerment, right? Little Red Riding Hood, right? Oh, kick butt, Grandma, you know. So, but Riding Hood wasn't 100% smart. But the thing is that we make mistakes. And this is the difference between I've been studying the difference between girls and guys, right? And it's always the difference is the things guys do, they get famed for. Same thing, the girl can do it, she'll get shamed for. So we got to change these mindsets. And the other thing is that when a guy makes a mistake, it's always, I didn't do it. It's not my fault. I'm serious. Look at the mindsets. Sit in a classroom. Listen to the girls. A girl, if she makes a mistake, it's my fault. I'm sorry. I didn't do. I'll fix it. Okay. You never hear. Okay. Listen really hard. This is something I've been trained to do for many, many years, is to listen and learn about who people are. Now, I'm an engineer by trade. But when I look at these things, and Rashmi, you could probably emphasize this as well. When I look at this, I think, wow, how can we change this? How can we change their stars? And you start when they're younger, right? And you teach them how to become financially smart. Don't rely on the guy. Teach them how to become sustainable on their own, how to do their own bank books. I was never taught any of this, okay? But we teach them how to fight. I'm sorry, teach them how to defend themselves. All right. They should all be taking Taekwondo classes at the age of 1. And it's not about being aggressive. It's about being able to react in a situation. Okay. Teach them how to have a voice. Rashmi, you probably had this because you had a great mentor in your life, your parents, but being able to get on stage and speak, that's not easy to do. Okay. That's something that some people, they might have a gift to do, like my boss, Nick, but a lot of people, that's something you have to learn how to do. And that's something I had to learn how to do, is to get up there and speak. Now that I do it, it's very easy. But for most girls, it's not, right? We're taught to be humble. We're taught that it's better to be shy and helpless. Okay. No. We need to start teaching them. If I had girls, I had all boys. If I had girls, they would all be taking Taekwondo classes. All my boys, I would take Taekwondo to learn respect, because that's what real Taekwondo teaches you. Okay, why did we leave? We got a director behind stage.
So as
an expert and a mother, what are your thoughts on that?
I would say that exactly what you're saying. I do that with my girls. So both of them go to Taekwondo classes, and I'm teaching them. It's interesting that you talked about finances. So they have these, little jars. So they do these jobs. Both of them, my younger one is only 4, and I started last year. So when she was 3, and my elder one was 6, and so so that's what I feel, that whatever you want them to learn, you should start young, and you should not wait for it to come from the school. So they do these jobs, and they have these 3 jars. So one is called spend, the other one, I'll just get it. so that the people can see. Interesting that we talked about it. The other one is called Save, and this one is called Give. So I want them to become well-rounded, financially sound individuals, girls, young women as they grow. So whatever money they earn from the jobs that they do, they are supposed to divide it between the spend, the save, and the give box. So the idea is, at a very young age, they know that they have to work and they can get paid. So the physical money, because they are fairly young to understand the concept of the cards and the money in the bank. So actually physically give them money, and then at the pay night, so we all sit together and we have a meal together, and at the end of the meal, everyone helps with the dishes, including my husband. He does it otherwise as well, but that night is special. And then I actually physically give them money, and then their job is to put some money in the spend box, some money in the give box, and some money in the save box. And the save one is, if they want something, then they're saving money for that. The spending bit is that this is their money. So whenever they go out and they want me to buy something, I was like, do you have some money in your spend box? And then they're like, oh mama, I only have like $4, and this is like $30. It's too expensive, maybe we don't need it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the give one, I want them, like in their school, they are in primary school, and here the final year students, they, as in of the primary school, they have these charity projects that they do. They have the citizenship portfolio that they have to do. So that is their money to give when the kids decide to support some charities. So they take money out of their give box and they give it away.
And I love this. And I had started a game that is very similar to that.
Okay.
I'm hoping to get out there, which teaches kids exactly what you're saying, but also teaches them to write it in a ledger so that they can keep up. But you're already kind of doing that with your game. So maybe we can incorporate your little game. It's not a game, but yours is real life, and put it in there, because the key is to do it with real money too, right? And
exactly.
One of the things is, I like your model because it's a scalable model, because those are the first three important elements to remember.
Yes.
The other two that we definitely need to teach girls, that this doesn't get taught in school at all, but for some reason the guys know it, is you got to pay taxes, right? You got to pay your fiduciary duty to your community and your country. So you got to pay taxes. Investing. They don't teach us how to invest, and that's where your money works for you. I didn't learn any of this until years after college, right? They don't even, but guys seem to get it, right? There must have been a class somewhere, or maybe they talk about it in football. Maybe their coaches are telling them this, and our coaches are telling us, don't forget to knit that sweater tonight, dear, and stitch that seam in, and
It's so funny. It's so funny that you say that, Kim, because home economics class is meant for the girls primarily, whereas the financial literacy class is meant for the girls. Quite frankly, I'm in my 30s, and I'm slowly but surely learning around financial literacy. If I had that in elementary school and primary school, I would be as good as gold. But no, instead they're doing home economics, the cooking, the cleaning, the sewing, every which way, and they're forgetting that women could be breadwinners too.
Agreed. And they could also add that financial element into the home economics class, and also require guys to take it, because it should be nice. Well, I'm lucky. My boys know how to do house cleaning. They know how to do laundry, because they all learn. I would give them each. They would have to plan and prepare a meal every week. Each one of them had
Yeah.
They would have to go grocery shopping for it, like you're doing. Put aside your money, and this is what you have, right? But your girls are younger, and where you're starting them, that's cool and that's fun, because the mental mind is there to, I've got something I need to save to spend. I got savings.
Yes.
I got spending, but most important, I have to give forward, because that giving forward is what circulates in our community. And that's what keeps things alive. It could keep somebody alive where they come and one day pay back to you, or where they come and pay forward to somebody else. And all too often I see those stories of, wow, if that person hadn't have given me $10 to go get some food, I probably wouldn't be here today to tell you my story. And that's the way you got to look at it. It's not, when my parents first taught me about charity, I thought it was a penance.
I love it.
I am my own charity.
Your honesty.
It's true. I mean, why do I have to put 10% aside for somebody else?
Yeah.
Why can't they figure it out? That's sorry I felt that way. But I later learned that, not everybody does, or some people have bad luck. There's unforeseen circumstances like the fires in California, right? There are just so many things. One of the things I'm going to share, I'm not trying to be an ad here, but Rashmi, you might want to do this and register your daughters for this too. But our sponsor is the online family dollar store. Mm-hmm. They've got over 4,200 items of dollar store items, but they're quality items. Like all of the items are quality. One of the items they have is a female product for your face that sells for $60 on Amazon. Identical problem, wow. Identical label, everything identical. And $60 plus shipping on Amazon. The same product on the Family Dollar store is $4. And if you spend $25, shipping is free. And of course, if you're like me at the dollar store, you're buying your soaps, your toothpaste, things. All online. Yeah. They are donating to our financial literacy programs. And this month, they're donating 100% of whatever they get in. I'll post the link. But
that'll be awesome.
What is interesting about this is that you're shopping and saving. You're not having to go shopping to the brick and mortar store, which I'm not trying to put them out. I still go to them. But but they have they got cool kids items too, right? So, you can take them there. They got puzzles, they've got school supplies, they've got toys and gizmos and gadgets. But right now, he has extended their gift. If you register between now and the end of October, you get $5 of free tokens to shop with. All right. And if you email me an invite, so once you get there and you email go.live@IBM.TV, I'll send another $5. But again, if you spend $25, you get free shipping. On top of all of that, as you spend, you earn tokens, just like what you're teaching your daughters, right? So there's your savings, right? So you'll earn more tokens for spending again. And what's nice is you can share these tokens. So so maybe get your daughters into this, and I want some extra tokens. I don't have enough. Well, maybe let them team up together, right? And get something. But it's the Family Dollar. I'll share the link real quick here. But they're giving forward to us, but they're allowing people to save money when they save time, because you can store up the things that you do like to buy all the time and can just reorder. But it's a give and give situation, right? They're giving back to us for financial literacy programs so that we can close that gap between poverty and sustainability. And to kind of answer one of your questions too, the reason why most women don't, where you were talking about, can we teach them to have a voice during domestic violence? The reason why most of them don't leave is they're not sustainable.
Yeah.
They're not
financially dependent.
And it's easier to face your offender beating you every day than it is to be on the run and looking over your shoulder, wondering if they're going to kill you. Yeah. Because granted, the beatings are bad, and some women probably are near fatal when they're beaten. But a lot of times an offender, if they're living in a house, they're going to punch that bag, but they want to keep punching that bag, so they're not going to kill you. They're just going to keep punching you to keep you down. And yeah, I'm talking bad about the offenders, and you guys can come after me if you want. The last guy got a fistful. So, because offenders, they don't like people like me. I've been in court with domestic violent women, victims. I've seen offenders attack in the courthouse. Yeah, I've been there when they've attacked in the courthouse. So you've got to, it's bad, it's a bad crime, but if we teach women how to learn how to react as a children, right? Some Taekwondo classes or self-defense classes. If I had a daughter, they would have them from the time they were born until they left home. Because they would know how to react. Even if I taught them at home, just learned the skills myself and taught them at home. Because there's not enough time in the day to do all of these things, right? But these are important skill sets. How to have a voice, how to get up on stage and speak, right? So every high school has a speech class now. I wish they'd have it in junior high, but every high school has a speech class. I highly recommend. The boys all register for it. The girls don't.
I did.
Force your dog. Yeah, I know you would, because we're survivors, right? And we're inspired, but a lot of girls don't. So I would force my daughter to take a speech class. If I had a daughter, she would be registered for that class, and she'd be kicking and screaming going in, but she would be speaking on stage coming out. So, and that might not be a skill they use forever, but it's something they'll learn how to do. And what's good about speech classes like that is they don't just teach you how to get on and speak in front of everyone. They teach you how to be prepared, which is this is what they're teaching the guys, how to get your notes together, how to line them up, how to pitch them. And that's something we don't learn as girls. Okay. So debate, I highly recommend a debate class. Again, girls are not going to want to do it. Right. And as parents, you're going to hate it, but but boys take it. It's all boy class, okay? And it should be a required class for everyone, not just boys. So I want to encourage those kind of things, because as a girl, and then if you become unfortunately disabled, which I shouldn't say unfortunately, but if something would happen, like in my case later in life, I became disabled, then it becomes an even bigger struggle, right? So if you don't have a voice, you don't understand sustainability, then you're totally dependent on other people, more so than with your disability. And one of the things I like about Wynn is she learned how to scrap it herself, right? She had some good supporters, but at the end of the day, she had to make that choice to learn how to become all of these things. And on top of it, have a voice. What are your thoughts on that, Wynn?
I agree. I think that most people should be taking these speech classes, like Rashmi said, because a coach could teach you until you're blue in the face. But if you don't have a background, and if you don't want to do this, you're up the creek without a paddle. I'm sorry, but you're up the creek without a paddle, because you don't know how to empower yourself to say, oh, this is not fair. And then you run to rush speed and say, help me, help me, help me, which makes women become the victim more than they want to be.
Absolutely. I'm going to share with Rashmi and our guest our link to the dollar store. It's easier to go this route than it is to go what's on the banner. But if you just go to IBM.TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see that?
Yep.
Click on the big green button.
Drop the dollar. Yes. Got it.
And it takes you straight there. And it's a quick and easy way to do it, rather than, typing in the Family Dollar Store URL. But if you go do that, you will also see our TV shows. Here, I'll show you something. We're live right now on there, so check this out. So you can scroll down, and there we are. We're live.
Ah, so cool.
So you can see the chats that people are sending in. You can See, but this is, technology today. We can do this. But on our show, there you are. You play that, you'll see us having this talk. So that's the other thing too. I've noticed, and Rashmi, maybe you notice this too. But we don't tend to teach our girls to be technical savvy either.
No.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, my brother, on my birthday, it was just on Saturday, he gave me an Apple Watch. And my first this thing was, my natural response to it was, one, I did not need such an expensive gift. The second thing was that, I was almost this thing that, okay, let me give it to my husband and he'll sort it out for me. But then I had to stop myself. Then I was like, he has gifted me something. One, I should be willing to receive. And second is that, it's nothing like, if I don't do it myself, how can I expect my girls to do it?
Yeah.
So I figured it out myself. And in the evening, my husband called me and I could take calls on the watch. So I actually spoke to him on the watch and he was like, well done, you.
Exactly.
Tell us the watch. It's really pretty. They didn't have red ones when I got mine. Show me your watch. It looks pretty.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was actually a surprise. So my brother asked me that, which color, and he just said color. So I thought, probably he doesn't live here in Australia. He's in India. So I thought that, probably he's sending some roses or something. So he said red or rose gold. And I thought, why go for pink? Like, I love red. So I was like, red. And that's what came out. Red.
Yeah, red.
I like it. I really, really like it.
And to start off what you guys were saying, most guys who are in IT, informational technology, they're the guys. And so why aren't we seeing women in STEM, science, technology, and mathematics? And why aren't we seeing these women engineers? And why aren't we seeing these women in technology to also make the women empowered and also help them with financial literacy, because STEM jobs pay high, but the jobs that we see women in, or the graphic job that I was in before my journalism career, was teaching. And 9 times out of 10, these women get trained in teaching, and then you'll see the occasional guy in teaching not know how to support the women in teaching, because and not know how to support the women in a home life either, quite frankly, to swing it back to domestic violence. But men think that women, oh, Wynn's got it, Bashima's got it, Kim's got it, we'll just leave those women alone. How can we not be powerhouses unless we get taught at young ages?
That's a good point. And one of the things that I want to inspire and Rashmi, maybe you can help out a little bit, especially with 2 little ones. We just started children's shows on Sunday, and to keep them inspired, these beautiful people inspired to keep these shows going, we need watchers. So we would love for your little girls to check it out and text the people and give them their support. I have had adults watch our children's show and feedback to me, they're the best shows they have seen in years. So our shows are coming out of South Africa. Just like you're in another country, Australia, your brother's in India. All of our people and all of our producers are from all over the world. We have doctors from India. We have doctors from the US. We have doctors from Malaysia. You have no idea the people that come in, and we share this information because these are global solutions. But But it would be fun to encourage our children creators to do a financial literacy and play with your banks, your
Yeah.
your girls, show them the banks that they have. But
Yeah.
maybe we can come up with and I don't want to. So this is what somebody asked me one time: how did you survive 40 years as an engineer? And a and it was male dominant. I was usually the only female or first female. I will say this: majority of those 40 years, I owned my own company. So, but owning the own company. I still had to stay in play against the world, right? Against big competitors, or negotiate with them and be partners. But this is what I told them, because everybody wanted me to come and say, do a hackathon for girls only. No, I'm not going to segregate. I do not believe in segregation to teach you to be equal. Okay. So the first thing you have to do is you have to learn how to get on that playground and play equal. And it doesn't mean that you go into the football field. Okay. So I don't recommend that. Although I have done that, but I've had broken bones too. But what I recommend is you put your mindset that you have to be equal. So I have to go to school with all boys. I was the only girl in most of my classes. But you have to say that's the right. And I thought after all of these years that a lot of that would change. And there are a lot of women in engineering, but they drop out. It's the highest dropped out courses in the country right now. I don't know about your country, but in our country it is. But
we struggle with the same issue here. Like, the girls, like, we try to encourage them, but still with STEM, as Wen was saying, there is still a very small percentage. And my recommendation will be that to the parents, to the carers, to the mums and dads, like, I take my girls there. I'm sure there would be something similar in the US. So it's called SciTech. So that's a place where you can do science experiments. So I have membership for both my girls, and we go there, every day. Whenever the weather is not good, we are off to SciTech. So give them that exposure and let them choose. I personally feel that, to girls, like, that exposure is not given. And there is this natural tendency as well that, probably guys will be more into opening things. But sometimes I feel that we put that thing in their brain, like, in India, things would be different now. But when I was growing up, there was no distinction based on color. Like, blue is for boys and pink is for girls. Like, a male child would wear pink. But here, when I came here, I was like, oh my God, if your daughter is wearing blue, like, when she was little, I never told her that, this color is for girls or that color is for boys. So I would say that my recommendation will be that as parents or as carers, give that opportunity, give that exposure to your girls as much as you would give to your boys. Encourage them and let them choose.
and something else, STEM includes art. Right. People don't understand that it's not just science and technology and engineering. It also includes arts now, which is very, very important. This is what, people go, oh, how do artists make money? Oh my God. They design everything right down to the outfit I'm wearing, the glasses I wear. They engineer what your car looks like, each stitch in the car. Think about it. All of those people have an artistic mind, right? Architect is an extremely creative artist, right? Somebody who can create a house from ground up just by drawing it. So all of these elements are very important. We need to encourage the girls to be equal on the playground, right? That we need to work equally. Don't separate it. Get in there and do it together. I will say this, after all of these years, and majority of the time, again, I was the only first female in most of the positions I had. So it was about 30 years later, because I always sat on universal boards for setting standards in technology. So I would always make sure I was there because I wanted to learn, but I also wanted to have a voice in what is it that we as engineers will use universally. And so I've always sat on these global standard boards. So it wasn't too long ago, I got invited to attend one. I haven't been to one in a while, but because I'm doing other things. So I go and I go into the room. It's about 100 people. I wasn't really looking because I got there just as the door was closing. And they saved me a seat at the front. And it was, tables. It was supposed to be a luncheon kind of thing. And there was a stage there. So I just get seated, say hi to my friends, and I look up and the speaker's talking. And he keeps saying lady and gentleman, lady. And I'm like, has he got a list? Why is he saying lady? Why not? So finally, I had the courage to do this. Again, I was the only woman there. Now, this is a global, it's not like it's global government, people. It's setting international standards for the use of technology. Why isn't there another woman face in there? And I'm talking about a woman who's still working in the industry. I consider myself retired from the industry, but I still keep my foot in there just so that there is a woman face there.
Isn't that interesting that in conference they would say lady instead of ladies, because that's interesting. And so a lot of men, a lot of females are not into STEM. And so, Lakshmi, what would be your closing piece of advice as we wrap this interview up? How are we supposed to empower women and men to support the women that they come in contact with?
Some call to action. Uh-oh. Try again. There you go.
1 second. Yeah. So I would say that if you want the world to be a better place, start at your home. Start at your home level and give that opportunity. Just like, do not differentiate based on gender. Like my husband is so much into that my husband is the only child for my in-laws, and he does the dishes, he does the housework because he wants the girls to know what is that they should look for in a guy should they decide to should get married or in a relationship, because he says that it's our household. It doesn't matter whether you are a girl or a boy. If you live in a family, you do things together. And that's what I would like the viewers to take away, that if you have girls in your family, in your neighborhood, encourage them to do things, give them that exposure. Half of the times the exposure is not given. So that's why I would count myself very, very blessed that I came from a society where women are married off very, very soon.
Yeah.
And my parents were so encouraging. Like my mother never told me to learn anything like sewing. She always wanted me to work. And my father never differentiated between me and my brother. So I come from a very, very fortunate background. So I would encourage that people do that, become that person that would encourage girls and boys and make this world a better place.
Well, that's a lovely way.
Awesome. Begin here. One thing I want to add is there is women in tech. They do inspire things for children. Again, I don't like to separate. I want to see it integrate. But
Yes.
I agree that is profound about beginning at home. And then maybe we can start encouraging in the schools, right? But globally have these talks about what it is. How can people find you, Rashmi?
So for me, you can look me up on LinkedIn. So if you just Google my name, Rashmi Vatal, you'll find me on Facebook, you'll find me on LinkedIn. And I run this free Facebook group, which is called Speak Up and Get Paid for Sharing Your Story. So in that, I like to share a lot of speaking opportunities, some tips on speaking. So I would really appreciate if anyone would like to get in touch and be a part of my Facebook group. Then I would welcome.
Up and get paid.
Yes,
Speak
I
up.
can share the link. I can share. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can get
Link,
find me
up.
on
post
Get
it.
paid for your story, Kim. That's the free Facebook group that Bashim has, and I think I think women need to, was it me being the interviewer or was it any of us on IMTV? I think women need to come to the forefront and start speaking up because I believe that women have as much power as guys do, and we just need to teach the guys how to support the women more in empowerment sense than trumping all over or ways of thinking and all ways of doing things.
No, and I think that you are absolutely right when that we just need to education. My favorite saying in a Disney movie: "Education is elimination."
Yeah, exactly.
It was the owl in the Fox and the Hound, right? And she's teaching them because if you think about it, the Fox and the Hound, right? They're prejudiced, right? It's a never ending cycle. And she goes, "Education is elimination."
Yeah,
And
love it.
and that's
Love
what
it.
if we're educated, we have the facts. But this is what I tell people: learn it. I learned this on another show, by the way. Learn it, do it, teach it.
Let it do it, teacher. I love it.
Because you can't really teach it until you've tried it, right? But that's
Exactly.
what you're about, Rashmi. You're not just about learning it, you're doing it. You're saying, "Here, girls, this is how we're going to do it." you know and now
Exactly.
they're going to become teachers just like you. They're going to know how to do these things, and you can't exchange that kind of information flow for anything else. We are coming at the hour. Following this show is Economics Monday, which is very empowering. Of course, it's mostly, I'm going to say it, mostly white guys. No, we got guys from all over the world that actually beam in.
Yeah.
But it's Economics Monday. We've been talking about taxes, but economics in general, how we're going to survive all of the pandemic that has hit the whole world. It's very empowering because of all the wonderful people. We've got deans from Harvard, Yale, McGee's University. We've got people from all over the world coming in, from India, Australia, Malaysia. We have the School of Economics by a person in Malaysia. So all of these things are pulling together this evening. We also have a radio show with Mark, which is brings in some of the most amazing celebrities just to talk about how we can just, enjoy life. But following that is another fabulous educational show called Lawyer's Den at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And personally, I want to start hearing those lawyers talk about how we're going to sue all the people who caused this problem. No,
Yeah. And I think
well,
that
how lawyers get, right?
lawyers should come on winning with win because it could be any lawyer out there because I think the lawyer per se is such a guys dominated world that how again I preach again how are we going to empower these young women like Bashim's daughters to be whatever they want to be.
And that's, and then too, another thing I would do is make my daughter take law school. And I wish they do teach it in some high schools. They are teaching some legal, but teach them their rights so that they have a little confidence to back their voice, right? Teach them to learn how to research their rights. Law school isn't going to teach you everything that you will know forever in life as far as of the laws because they change. But it's going to teach you those skill sets to be able to research them and not be afraid of them. Because all too often, I want to tell you what, as a woman in business, I would have an attorney call and go, well, my client says this and this and this, and it was all BS. And what an ounce of truth coming out of his mouth about the law. Because the first words out of my mouth would be, send me that statute. What? It's because I said so, woman. Yeah. You know, this is an MCI attorney, like one of the top MCI attorneys. I owned a phone company, and they didn't like me because I was taking away their business. But are you questioning me? Yeah, I am. And if I find out you're lying and you lied to my people when you called in with this, I'm going to make you eat that law degree without Tabasco. So because I already knew the law,
yeah, you could say that.
Able to do that. But all my employees, when he called and was talking to them, like, you know, they were like, oh, Kim, we got to do this. We can't do this. And I'm like, no, he's full of crap. No, you don't know. He's a lawyer. I go, lawyers lie. So, teach your daughters to not just say why, this is my new campaign, but to say why not. All right. Ask why, but then start asking why not? Why not me? Why not me? And that's what we got to do. Wynn, do you want to wrap up and I'll play your Thank you, Rishi.
Thank you, Jasmine, for coming on. And you guys, just remember to empower the women and the men around you. And I hope you guys enjoyed another episode of Winning with Wynn. If you guys want to subscribe, be my guest, subscribe, and hit the like and hit the bell for notifications. And Rushmeen, as we close this interview out, what would be your closing thoughts?
I would say that in this world where you can be anything, be kind. This pandemic has taught us that we don't know when will we, will we even see tomorrow. So be kind, be caring, be compassionate, and love yourself.
I love it. I love it. Be kind, be caring, and be compassionate. Because I agree with Rushmeen that this pandemic has taught us if we can put our feet on the ground every single day, we're lucky.
Yes, that's so true.
Thank